Yo, what is up everybody, it's JTheGreat here and welcome back to another Naruto reaction video here today. And today we got an all new video by the Great 6, and as you can tell the title, this is Naruto and Sasuke versus Boruto and Kawaki, the real winner. This is a very intriguing matchup, right? And obviously respective versions greatly impact the outcome of this hypothetical inverse Naruto matchup. So the most intriguing would probably be the strongest versions of each group of opponents. But to be quite frank, if we're talking about Baryon mode Naruto and Sasuke versus Boruto and Kawaki, I believe Naruto and Sasuke would most likely get the victory, just inductively. However, of course, we don't know how strong Boruto and Kawaki are currently. Who knows, maybe Kawaki is now stronger than Ishiki. I highly doubt that's the case. But however, due to ambiguity, there is no way to 100% confirm or deny how powerful Kawaki really is and whether or not he's stronger than Ishiki or not. Boruto, as we know, has 100% Otsutsuki DNA now after being heavily injured by Kawaki and Momoshiki being forced to heal him, right? So clearly Boruto and Kawaki are probably stronger than they've ever been. But again, due to ambiguity, there is no way to truly deduce how strong they truly are, at least not yet, right? We haven't seen what they're capable of just yet. We saw what Kawaki could do against limiter code, right? Without, this is before he got his limiters removed. We saw what he was able to do against code. He was out of his league, but then he gets threatened by Ida and Damon. They didn't feel as threatened, so we could deduce he's not as strong as they are. But however, this is a very intriguing matchup, and I'm very intrigued to see what Six had to say about this one today. But before I begin, any less greatly appreciate, hit that like button, turn on bell notifications to stay updated with yours truly. And if you're new and you enjoy, man, you messed with the kid, make sure to hit that sub button below, because once you do, become part of the family forever. But let's not waste any more time, screen. Let's see what Six has to say about this one.
Hello everyone, today me and Troy are going to go over Naruto and Sasuke versus Kawaki and Boruto. We figured this topic would be fairly interesting, especially right now. Nowadays we're at chapter 70 in the manga. Correct. And right now Boruto and Kawaki have just got done getting their 100% or complete Otsutsuki forms, or at least as far as they'll go. Boruto is at 100% with his whole karma being extracted. Momoshiki's resurrection is no longer a thing, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. Ishiki is long dead. Kawaki's now received his karma back. He can sort of activate it all over his body now. We're going to refer to those forms as Kawashiki and Borishiki for the rest of the video, so just know whenever we say that, those are the specific two we're talking about. And Naruto and Sasuke, we'll go over them both at full power and while they're nerfed. And we figured doing this video would be good anyway, because we can not only talk about those specific characters, but we could give extra exposition on their karma marks and some Otsutsuki theories we have as well. But yeah, like I said, I do have Troy with me. Say hello.
Hello.
So before we get into it, make sure you go subscribe to Troy, like the video,
shout out to Troy,
subscribe to me as well. Yes, but yeah, if you want to start off, you can tell us about Naruto and Sasuke.
Yeah, so Naruto and Sasuke, at least the pre-nerfed versions, they have a pretty much established scale. They're on the higher ends of everybody in Boruto. Nobody can really contend with them except for Jigen, and Jigen has to force his body or vessel to destroy itself to even stand a chance against both of them.
Before we move on past that, that's something that doesn't get highlighted enough when talking about Naruto and Sasuke versus Jigen. Jigen literally used every bit of his power when fighting them.
Like, he did solo both, but people like act as if it was just
he had to really exert
task.
himself.
Like, he just went in there, bodied both, and walked out unscathed. No, he was literally breaking his body apart to where he had less than 10% of his total power left.
And that's even with some recharge. So when he left, he probably had somewhere in the realm of like 2% or something like that. I don't know. That's kind of getting into head-canon territory, but I'm just saying.
And then there's something else to add too. Before the fight, like a few chapters before the fight, he even recharged or like amped himself.
Yeah, so I like the point they made here. So essentially, despite the dominant display that Jigen had against Naruto and Sasuke, that doesn't negate the fact that he exerted most of his energy and chakra when battling Naruto and Sasuke. So yes, he did get the better of the exchange. However, he exerted a lot of energy, which just illuminates the threat that Naruto and Sasuke are, right? Jigen was a god, and even he knew he had to exert himself to that extent to challenge Naruto and Sasuke. So that's an important and very good point by Six and Troy.
himself with Jubi chakra. We don't know if he was recharging previously or amping himself. Doesn't really matter. He still had access to this Jubi chakra before the fight with Naruto and Sasuke.
Yeah, that can tie directly into the Kawaki part of the video, because Kawaki and Jigen, they have a similar stat where they both have Ishiki's karma. So comparing the respective performances and seeing how the quality of the amp would work between both vessels is definitely going to be essential whenever we get to that part of the video. But yeah, just for Naruto and Sasuke,
that's fair.
Point, we know that both of them together, it takes to bring Jigen down to an almost unfighting level on both ends. But on both sides, neither side could fight anymore. I mean, I think Jigen even implies, or he says he's not even Nine Tails level whenever he's as weakened as he is.
Because he can no longer even kill the Naruto. Like the Naruto that's stuck up on the poles like a shish kebab, he can't even kill that Naruto.
Yeah, he said it would be too much work because of the Nine Tails inside of him. And then similarly, Kurama's like, you know, Naruto, stop riling up Jigen because he might kill us.
And what makes it even worse is like Jigen is so weak, a deathbed Sasuke with no MS, no Sharingan, barely Rinnegan chakra left. Like he was saving up chakra just to be able to teleport away. He can teleport before Jigen is able to even reach him.
One thing similar with Jigen in this battle with Naruto and Sasuke versus Kawaki and Boruto is the karma and its ability to absorb ninjutsu. That's still something they're gonna have to learn to play around or whatever to be able to beat both of these guys. But I mean, that's enough about them, I guess you could say. They also do directly fight Momoshiki, who is currently inside of Boruto, literally like amping him up. And I don't know if we ever talked about this before. Me and Troy think that the Momoshiki inside of Boruto, or the one that got its data relayed on Boruto, has fused Momoshiki's power but base Momoshiki's appearance.
Yeah. Now, I know people are gonna say, well, he looks like base Momoshiki, but besides the minor appearance design changes that happen inside of the soul, all the fruit does is genetically update them physically, so his soul's appearance would not change. So bringing up how he still looks like base Momo, that wouldn't really work because it's only updating him physically, not spiritually.
And you also got to think about it from a narrative perspective.
Never thought about that.
Boruto and Kawaki, they're clearly the Naruto and Sasuke of the new generation. Seth went over this in his Boruto The Honest Truth video, but it's more implied that we're about to get good guy Sasuke and bad guy Naruto with Boruto and Kawaki. So with them being so similar, them having to be close in power essentially for the story to work, kind of, if base Momo was the one put up next to Ishiki, you know, for Kawaki, that's like night and day. Like Ishiki,
yeah, that's not close.
Ishiki would absolutely foderize base Momoshiki. You might even be able to make an argument that he could beat the hell out of fuse Momoshiki, but at least with Ishiki and Kawaki, he only has 80% of Ishiki. So I kind of think that would be the balancing mechanic, because we do see even in the future when they fight Boruto and Kawaki, they're activating their karma marks to clash with each other. I don't know if they're gonna stay around the same level in base like they are now. Currently, at least as of chapter 58, Boruto and Kawaki are damn near the same combatant in base, and it's been that way ever since they got introduced. Like when they're both taking a piss outside at the garden, we see that they start fighting.
They're
in base form, and they're both equal.
And to kind of like play on how they're equals in base and karma's like the pushover, Kawaki loses his karma mark. The way Boruto is demonstrated to be clearly above him is when Boruto activates his karma, he even tells Kawaki that, yeah, you no longer have karma, you gotta chill out, and kind of bitches him.
Yeah, and then even during their fight, Kawaki, he tries to absorb a shot Boruto shoots at him, but you know, he doesn't have karma anymore. He's like, damn, have I become too reliant on this karma mark? Even though he hated it, you know, it's kind of something he used to aid him in battle a lot. But yeah, so them being equal, just, you know, to wrap it up, we talked about that for way too long, but you know, to wrap it up, we think it's Fuse Momo power inside of Boruto. Naruto and Sasuke's performance against Fuse Momo, what I was getting into before the little tangent we just went on, is somewhat contentious. Most people in the manga anyway is somewhat contentious, because in the anime it's just blatant as day. Momo can swap hands with both Naruto and Sasuke at the same time. That much we get to see. In the manga it's a lot different. The fight is a lot shorter.
Around 4 pages.
Yeah, and we see Naruto's beating up Momo a lot easier than he was the last time. The only time the battle really turns in Momoshiki's favor, and the back of the volume sort of supports this, the battle turns in Momoshiki's favor whenever he brings out the golem. And on the back of volume 2, it tells us that Naruto and Sasuke would have to team up if they ever dreamed of defeating a ferocious foe like Momoshiki. It's one of those, you know, exaggerated ass kind of lines.
Hyperbole.
And since he was getting beat up in base, it would just support the interpretation that the golem is what's giving him that level of power. So then do we go with, oh, does Momo's full golem power, is that what's in Boruto? Or maybe when he puts the karma on Boruto, does he get even stronger because it's then himself plus or times Boruto's base power as well? You know, we don't really know. The Karma Boro fans data book page kind of thing we have for Boruto, it doesn't even expand on this much. All we get is that, you know, we know the Otsutsuki's chakra is in this karma mark and that it's just making Boruto much stronger. We know it took Kawaki's a lot longer to extract because Ishiki is much stronger than Momoshiki. We know their karmas can resonate with each other. They can do team attacks with that sort of stuff.
So they do like a combination Rasengan versus Boro. Yeah. Like Kawaki is just pumping chakra into Boruto's back with his karma, and that then fuels Boruto's karma to make a bigger Rasengan.
But yeah, I mean, so that would be like the baseline for the comparison between Naruto and Sasuke and Boruto, or at least one way to take it. Another way to take it would be, I hate getting into this, but it would be bringing up the code way. So code implies that he could beat Naruto and Sasuke on his own without his limiters. At least the last Naruto and Sasuke he knew was the ones that had Kurama and the Rinnegan.
Yeah. Right. So 6 Path Sage Mode Naruto and Rinnegan Sasuke are the last forms of Naruto and Sasuke code to see.
Yeah, and we know Code did look into Naruto after Momoshiki's death to see if Momoshiki had given him a karma. He says that to Delta in, I think, chapter like 34. Something to sort of back up this interpretation is Code is mentioned to be stronger than Delta. Now, whether you believe that or not, I know some people don't believe that. Troy, do you believe that? I don't think you do.
Oh, I don't believe that.
Okay. Well, limiter code, by the way. If you think Code is stronger than Delta, limiter code is stronger than Delta, and you say Delta scales to Naruto at bare minimum taijutsu, then you could say that's a way to get Code over Momoshiki, because we know in the manga, Naruto in 6 Path Sage Mode scales over Fused Momoshiki. So that would be a way to say Borushiki is actually stronger than Fused Momoshiki. And then if that's the case, you got a problem on your hands, like realistically.
Yeah.
I will say that would kind of be the interpretation I think me and Troy would go with, even if you don't go the Code over Delta route, that Borushiki is stronger than Fused Momoshiki.
Yeah.
And then even if you don't say Code is stronger than 6 Path Sage Mode Naruto, it's implied heavily Code is stronger than Sage Mode Naruto.
This is a new amped Sage Mode, by the way. He's using longer now.
Even by Shikamaru. Shikamaru says sending Naruto to go fight Code alone would be complete suicide. So
nerfed Naruto,
even
of course.
Though, you know, Sai is not available, Sasuke is not available, Shikamaru is going to go with Naruto in order to fight. Now, Shikamaru does get caught off guard by Code, so don't take that as too much of an anti-feat or be like, oh, Shikamaru doesn't know what he's talking about. He literally just got caught from behind because Borushiki was out. There was a whole bunch of things he wasn't expecting, and that's why Shikamaru was taken out of the battle so early. And then you even get Boruto was saying that Momoshiki was literally going to kill an on-guard Naruto. Naruto was ordered not to move from Momoshiki's Rasengan, but Boruto says that he almost killed him, literally. Like, the Rasengan he's about to say was just gonna blow Naruto away.
Going back into what we talked about previously, a couple issues arise when we use Code as like a measuring stick, or when we use the Code statements to gauge how powerful Naruto and Sasuke are in relation to himself. The issues that arise is he believes that him and Boro have equal ability. Now, whatever ability means, it has something to do with combat. Whether that is hacks or like AP and speed, we don't know. He believes them to be comparable and them also to be above the likes of Delta and having a better chance of defeating Boro. We know from the Boro fight he's weaker than like Sarada, Shidori, Mitsuki, and Boruto.
And Kawaki.
Yeah, we know those to be weaker than Hokage, Naruto, and Sasuke. Just stated by Amato, they have the strongest battle power in the leaf when together.
Yeah, I mean, and Naruto also just fights Boruto.
Right, so there's inconsistency, right?
Before they go fight Boro either, so.
Yeah, and Sasuke also just defeats what should be a stronger Borushiki too. So
yeah, while he's weakened, like Sasuke's so weakened when he fights that second form of Borushiki, the one after the Ishiki fight. For one, he doesn't have his Rinnegan, but he's also running out of chakra, like
and
rapidly.
bleeding.
He can barely walk. Literally, he can barely walk. So
And Borushiki, like Momoshiki in the inner monologue just says, to even fight this weakened Sasuke on deathbed Sasuke, I'm not going to leave this battle unscathed. Like, it's going to be a hard fight.
yeah, to go add on to the Boro thing, it does say in Borokara 3.5 that the war potential or battle strength of the Kara inners is supposed to be similar to that of Hokage Naruto. And you could draw a lot of consistency from this. If you say Code stronger than Delta, that's one way. That's like two people. And then Code thinks he's around Boro's level in terms of ability. You could just say ability means like war potential, like the Borokara says, which you could get like Boro maybe invades the leaf and he fights Naruto. Naruto's beating him up, but he's regening and the poison came out, so Naruto got immobilized or something like that. That way he could beat Naruto, and it would be consistent with the Code statement that he could do something that Delta could not. And then maybe you could say like Kashin Koji when he's in Sage mode, his fire style, since they highlight that in the Borokara, is around Hokage Naruto level. Blah 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 blah. It's just to support like, oh, the Kara inners are actually.
Here I'll have to disagree because, like they just previously stated, Boro was defeated by Sarada, Boruto, Kawaki, and Mitsuki, and they are blatantly inferior to Hokage Naruto and Sasuke. Sarada's Chidori nearly ended Boro. If it wasn't for his regen, he would have died. So I highly, highly doubt he'd be able to immobilize Naruto. Highly. And if it's Naruto and Sasuke, even less of a chance. As far as Code being above Delta, if he's relative to Boro, I don't have any problem with that. It's probably contentious, but that's fine, right? What we do know, right, is when Borushiki was battling Sasuke in that quick skirmish when he got Sasuke in the eye, took out his Rinnegan, that was an 80% emerged Borushiki. And he still thought that he'd have trouble against a heavily fatigued, one-eyed Sasuke. That implies a lot. So if we're talking about full power Naruto and Sasuke against full power Boruto and Kawaki, it's contentious. There isn't enough to imply who wins definitively, in my opinion. Right? Now, if we want to go with this scaling, which is okay, this is an argument that I would use for Boruto and Kawaki. Jigen was an imperfect vessel. Ishiki thought Kawaki would be a better vessel, right? And we can deduce he has the best judgment when it comes to that, since he is the Otsutsuki himself. So we can make the argument that Kawaki is stronger than Jigen, right? Currently is stronger than Jigen. Hence, would be stronger than the individual that soloed Naruto and Sasuke at full power. And if we want to stick by the notion that Kawaki and Boruto are relative, then Boruto would be at a similar level. Hence, maybe they could beat Naruto and Sasuke. That's just one argument. I'm not saying that I believe it, and I'm also not saying that I don't believe it. I'm just saying that is an argument to be made, right? Kawaki is a better vessel than Jigen was, hence is stronger. Boruto's relative, especially now that he's 100% Otsutsuki, it makes even more sense. And Naruto and Sasuke couldn't even defeat Jigen. It's an argument to be made. However, it's contentious, right? It's contentious, and this is a very intriguing topic. Let's continue.
Like Otsutsuki level monsters, that sort of consistency in narrative. But I mean, as far as, because I think we've been talking about this specific part now, as far as full power Naruto and Sasuke versus Borushiki and Kawashiki, which they're equal, by the way, Borushiki and Kawashiki, they're completely equal.
I think the fight portrayed that very well.
Right.
Yeah, I think that fight is more in Naruto and Sasuke's favor, at least currently. Actually, no, I didn't talk about the Kawaki and Jigen comparison. Okay, so just quickly comparing Kawaki and Jigen, you get both in base form wildly different levels of power. In base form, Kawaki's getting beaten up by base Code. He's supposedly base Boruto level, and base Boruto does not scale anywhere to 6 past Sage 1 Naruto.
Of course.
Jigen in base can tank kicks from 6 past Sage 1 Naruto. He literally did it in Naruto's living room. So if you say Jigen is just that much stronger than base Kawaki, and then Jigen has more of Ishiki's karma on top of Ishiki himself controlling the karma and body, there's literally, in my opinion anyway, there's just, like, all the evidence seems to point towards Jigen being stronger than Kawashiki,
Right.
full power Kawaki, whatever.
That's a good argument,
like
too.
we said before, it took Jigen's absolute full power to beat Naruto and Sasuke. So you get two below Jigen level threats fighting Naruto and Sasuke. You know what I'm saying? Like, I sort of think it's leaning towards Naruto and Sasuke.
It would be pretty clear that they're just not on that level as of chapter 71, of course.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if you take it the Borishiki over 6-pass Sage Mode Naruto route, then you could, you know, get them very high. You can maybe say the Kawashiki Jigen argument I just made isn't really consistent, or the logic isn't really consistent, because this other line of thinking leads to a different conclusion or something like that, to say that, you know, they're both stronger. But we think anyway it's leading that way.
Yeah, it gets a lot different when we take into account their nerfed forms, because I think the Code versus Borishiki example just perfectly explains how a fight versus nerfed Sasuke and nerfed Naruto would go.
Yeah.
Borishiki kind of just shits on Code, and Shikamaru just says Code versus Sage Naruto alone would be kind of suicide.
Yeah.
Oh, of course. Nerf Naruto and Sasuke get their ass whooped.
Like I said earlier, Boruto was literally saying Momoshiki was about to kill Naruto.
I agree.
The Rasengan was about to actually like blow him away.
Yeah.
We don't exactly know how strong Sasuke is. We know he should at least like minimum be around that Naruto level, as Shikamaru said, him or Sai be of help with Naruto and like not make it a suicide mission. We know that's like the minimum, so if we were to say they were equals, he would just get done the same way.
Yeah. And it's also like becoming more Boruto and Kawaki's time to shine, if you want to take that route. So them being stronger than Naruto and Sasuke at this point, it's not even a bad thing. And if you
narratively it
apply
makes
some
perfect sense.
mental nerfs when I bring this up and say, oh, Naruto's not attacking Kawaki because he doesn't want to hit his son or whatever, when Kawaki is literally killing Boruto, Naruto doesn't do anything. So, I mean,
Shikamaru also states when Borishiki's about to kill Naruto, this kind of implies Naruto doesn't have the will to fight his son or whatever.
Yeah.
But Shikamaru's like, to not die, you're gonna have to actually try against Borishiki, and Naruto just stands there with like a weird expression. He never tries in that fight, because I don't even think he has the will to kill either of his children. You know, Kawaki being kind of adopted.
That would be a huge factor.
Even without that, you know, me and Troy already went over the other ways you can scale Kawashiki and Borishiki over Sage Naruto and no Rinnegan Sasuke. So that's gonna be it for the video.
Yeah,
I hope
it's a great video.
Enjoyed. It was just, you know, spur of the moment thought we recorded it. Subscribe to Troy.
Great video, guys.
Subscribe to me, and have a nice day.
Very intriguing. All right, there you guys have it. I definitely want to get my thoughts. So, the outcome of this battle really depends on your presupposition of Boruto and Kawaki, right? So, if you have the presupposition that Kawaki, because he is the perfect vessel according to Ishii, or at least a better vessel than Jigen, then you can make the argument, well, Kawaki could be stronger than Jigen already. But however, if you have the presupposition that Kawaki still isn't developed as a vessel, then you can make the argument, well, he isn't quite yet as strong as Jigen was when he beat Naruto and Sasuke in that encounter. That's where I tend to land in. So I tend to believe the same things that Troy and Six believe. I tend to believe Kawaki's not quite there yet. They made a good argument with the base argument, right? Base Jigen was tanking attacks from full power Naruto. Base Kawaki is relative to base Boruto, and neither one of them were even close to as powerful as full power Naruto and Sasuke. So I tend to believe they're still inferior to full power Naruto and Sasuke. However, clearly, if they're fighting nerfed Naruto and Sasuke, they are one-shotting most likely. It's already implied that they're heavily superior, as indicated by Boruto implying Naruto would have died, and Kawaki having to save Naruto from Borishiki's Rasengan. So, this is a contentious topic, right? However, I think narratively and rationally, in my opinion, it's easier to deduce Naruto and Sasuke most likely would still take the victory at full power. They didn't even discuss Baryon mode Naruto, right? Baryon mode Naruto would clear them, as of now, at least. As of now, currently, he would clear them. But Troy made a good point. He talked about the mental nerf that Naruto would most likely have, and probably Sasuke too, with Boruto being his pupil. They would be reluctant, and that would be detrimental to them, right? If they're reluctant on attacking Boruto and Kawaki, that could be a problem, right? Because Boruto and Kawaki will show no mercy, especially if it's Borishiki and Kawaki trying to attain his goal, right? Admittedly, Kawaki might be reluctant in killing Naruto. He might just subdue him or disable him. He'll kill Sasuke, but he'll be reluctant on killing Naruto. So he'd have somewhat of a mental nerf as well. However, I think narratively it holds that Kawaki and Boruto aren't quite there yet. But what is there is the passing of the torch. I've talked about this countless times at this point. The passing of the torch has already taken place. Naruto and Sasuke are nerfed. Naruto's already being saved by Boruto and Kawaki. Kawaki had to save his ass. Shikamaru blatantly admitting Naruto would be basically killing himself trying to fight Koda off or Boroshiki or Kawaki or whatever. It's already heavily implied that Naruto and Sasuke are inferior. Because to me it still holds that Naruto and Sasuke are relative, hence Sasuke is the same level or close to the level of Naruto currently. It wouldn't make sense narratively if Sasuke was a force of nature still and Naruto is fodder. That wouldn't make any sense. There's a dynamic between Naruto and Sasuke similar to Boruto and Kawaki. Naruto and Sasuke are relative. Ever since the war arc, they've been relative. Boruto and Kawaki, it's heavily implied that they're narrative in base and at full power. They both have karmas. They even swapped hands when they were in the same environment as Code and Naruto and Shikamaru and all of them. That heavily implies the relativity between the two. And deductively, it's easy to conclude that. This is a very interesting battle. I believe the tides will slowly turn as the narrative continues to evolve and progress. It's easy to deduce that Boruto and Kawaki are going to get stronger as the storyline goes on. They're going to master the karma. They're going to master the abilities. Hence, they're probably going to increase the overall impact that their powers have. And who knows, maybe they'll still get even stronger. I know Boruto is 100% Otsutsuki, but this isn't the end of his evolution. They're going to continue to get stronger and stronger. And I'm sure the writers are going to implement something to make that make sense. So the tides will turn. Kawaki and Boruto will be the top of the food chain in due time. And eventually, who knows, maybe they'll surpass Beiranmo Naruto himself. I wouldn't be surprised in the foreseeable future. So, to sum it up, Naruto and Sasuke at full power currently most likely defeat current Boruto and Kawaki even with their vessels. Nerfed Naruto and Sasuke get bodied. It's already heavily implied by the narrative itself that they are just not on the same level anymore. They are essentially done being the top dogs within the Naruto verse because of the passing of the torch. It's a theme that's an inevitable one, despite how us OG fans feel about it. And I agree with Six and Troy's points. They made some great points, actually. Very good points, and I basically agree with everything they had to say. But yeah, folks, that's my thoughts on the video and my thoughts on this very intriguing matchup. I'm sure there's various differing opinions. Please let me know in the comment section below. What is your claim and your conclusion to this very intriguing matchup? I'm always interested to hear your guys' thoughts, so please let me know in the comment section below. And of course, if you have any other recommendations, also let me know in the comment section below. But that's going to wrap it up, folks, and I'll catch you in the next video. This is JTheGreat signing out. Peace.